Hey guys, welcome to another video. In this one, we're talking about what to do on your scouting trip. So I am getting ready to do my first scouting trip for one of the countries we are considering. And I came across Shida Dowe's video all about what to do before your scouting trip. So I figured I would add my own twist to the video, to the conversation about scouting trips. And so I have my little notes in here. And I have actually 12 to 13 things that you can do as you prepare for your scouting trip, or even to do there while you are scouting the city, the country that you're considering for your Blaxit. So let's get into all these different points. The first thing that I'm going to do, and I encourage you to do, is to look at the average cost of food at a restaurant. So the thing is that we all see posts on Instagram about fancy restaurants that people go to. And the thing is that these are like highly Instagrammable restaurants, like with great backdrops and stuff like that. And so it doesn't really give me a good idea of what is the average restaurant cost. And I want to go to an average restaurant where I'll go with my family, with my kids, not the, super Instagrammable restaurant just for the sake of, the lights. I'm sure gonna want to go and see those restaurants, but for an average, to get an idea of, the cost of living and all of that, I want to go and see and trying to look at average restaurants, things that I can go to for the weekend or something like that. How do they cost? How much do they cost? And, how is it like over there? Okay, so that's the first thing I want to do, is looking at the average restaurant that is not like the super Instagrammable restaurant. Second thing that I'm going to do, because I'm going with my kids, not on a scouting trip, but because of the whole relocation, the move abroad is done with the family, with the kids, is looking at the schools, the potential schools that we can enroll our kids in. So we're looking at international schools as an option. And so there are more than one. So which ones are we going to pick? You have to go and see for yourself and look at how things are like on the ground, looking at talking with the administrators, talking with the teachers, and looking at the kind of programs that they have, maybe after school programs or sports programs, or if they have swimming lessons. There are schools with a lot of different things, right? So I want to be able to look at these schools, walk the grounds, and see how things are like in those different schools before I make a decision on which school we're going to enroll the kids in. Third thing, super important, obviously, is healthcare. So trying to look at maybe locating one clinic that would be our urgent care clinic, that will be our go-to clinic, looking at the different type of specializations are there, different type of doctors are there, if it's like for women's health or men's health or pediatrician and things like that. So locating the go-to clinic that we're going to use in case of emergency or even for just regular healthcare. Number 4 is transportation. So we're still kind of thinking about, okay, should we bring our cars or should we buy over there? The thing about bringing our cars is that you cannot import cars that are older than 5 years old in Côte d'Ivoire or 10 years old in Cameroon as of the recording of this video. So then that means that we would need to buy newer cars here before we can take them. On top of that, you have to pay not only for the new car, for the shipping, and then the cost of taking the cars from the port, right? And that adds up really, really fast. So wouldn't it be just better and cheaper to just buy a newer car that's already there in Cameroon or in Côte d'Ivoire? So looking at different dealerships and looking at the price point. Sometimes it makes sense, sometimes it doesn't make sense. We're a family of 6, so we definitely need a 3-row car, and that might be a lot more expensive over there than it is here. So we'll have to look at comparing the two options. So transportation, prices of cars is number 4. Number 5 is, this one is really optional, but I kind of want to do it just because, is attend an event for expats. So kind of trying to see, trying to get contacts already from people in the expat community that we might, need at some point to ask questions and to see how it's like to be an expat in those 2 countries. And it's an option. I don't really need to, because we already have friends and family in both areas. So it's just a bonus point. And again, just a reminder, these points are not in a specific order. That's the order I wrote them down. So the number 6 is attend an after work event for entrepreneurs. This one I really, really want to do if I get to do it like for, I mean, I think they have them every week because it's after work, and trying to get a vibe of the entrepreneurial scene. So both my husband and I work from home, so we have our own businesses. So trying to understand how it works over there, what are the conversations that people are having, what are the kind of issues that they're having, the challenges they're having, and see how we can fit in there, contribute in there, or whatever it is, but trying to get a sense of how dynamic the entrepreneurial, environment is like. Okay, so that was number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 7, this is a bonus for me personally as a former college professor. I want to see universities, how they look like, if there's even an opportunity to be a guest speaker or something like that. I just want to see how it's like and see what happens. See, talking to the faculty, if there are some of the majors that, for example, for me as a graduate of a business, hospitality and tourism programs, I want to see if those majors are there and the kind of programs they have. And yeah, that would be super cool to have, to be a guest speaker or something like that, or to help in student projects and something like that. So that's a little bonus for me, optional, but that would be super cool for me to do. Number 8 is housing. Super important. So looking at different neighborhoods, that will also be related to the school, because closer to the school, closer to the international schools, more expensive the houses are, okay? The closer you are to international school, the more expensive the houses are. But related to actually point number 9 is that you have less traffic. You don't have to cross the whole town and be in traffic for 2 hours just to take the kids to school. So these 3 things go hand in hand: school, traffic, and housing. Knowing the cost of rental for, if it has how do you say that? If it's furnished or not furnished, how much upfront do you have to pay for? Is it a month? Is it a year? Sometimes you have to pay for a year. So knowing all of that and visiting different types of houses or even apartments to get an idea of what we can expect in terms of housing. So traffic, as I mentioned, how long does it take to go from one point to another, between a grocery store to the school to maybe a coffee shop or whatever it is, getting a good sense of how traffic is like, because that's going to help us make better decisions on the school and the housing. Another one super important, because we're going with the kids, is activities for the kids. So whether it's water parks or playgrounds around, or dance class or soccer class or anything like that that is interesting for the kids, how it's like. So that could be as simple as asking my friends who are there already, or even going and seeing, like, maybe with their kids and trying to see what the things are they're enrolled in and how it's like, how the classes are like. And or even just going in some, let's say, a dance center and inquiring some information about the different prices and the different activities that they do. Okay, next, super important, specifically for us as we work remotely, is work conditions, and more specifically Wi-Fi. So I'm going to test Zoom calls, I'm going to test uploading videos, I'm going to test all of these things so that I know the kind of speed I need for, what kind of data plan I need, how much it costs. And sometimes it depends on the area where you are. Certain neighborhoods have, fiber optic and whatever you call that, and others don't. So it depends also on where you're located and the type of connection you can get, okay? I'm also going to ask about the different kind of plans, so on and so forth. So that's super, super, super important for us. Another thing that I was thinking about is looking at American products. And I'm not super interested in that, but mostly, for example, for hair care. So there are certain brands that I really, really like for example, Cantu. I really like that brand for my hair, for my girls' hair as well. So I know it's available there in both countries, but I want to know what is the price difference. So if it's like ridiculously more expensive, and in that case, I will fill my suitcase with a lot of those. Or if it's just a little more expensive and it's fine, I'll just pay a little more and I don't have to bring anything from the US. Okay, so for different kind of products, whether it's healthcare, even if it's food, for example, I mean, there's not a lot that our kids, I think, would be so adamant about eating just that. Like, for example, for cereal, you know, maybe, I mean, they're not huge on cereal, so I don't think that's gonna matter that much. But if there's like certain kind of cookies, for example, just as a treat, maybe once a month or something like that, knowing if it's available there, I know it is available, but knowing what is the price difference, if it's like twice, triple the price, then it might be worth it for me to pack a few boxes in my suitcase and then just use them once a month or something like that. Or just if it's not that much of a difference, then just buying them there, it's totally fine. And last but certainly not least, in the same, you know, in talking about the same thing basically, is deciding on, based on what I'm looking at, based on my observations, deciding on what to sell, what to bring, or what to leave here in the US. So car, I already talked about it, but also furniture. Okay, so do we bring a bed, or do we have beds made over there, which I'm thinking is going to be a lot cheaper because it's going to be better quality, because it's going to be wood. In terms of clothing, obviously know that we're going to donate a lot of our clothes and everything, like boots. I don't need to wear boots. I don't need to bring my boots to Cameroon or Côte d'Ivoire. That would be just, yeah, nonsense to do that. But knowing what kind of things to bring, again, to debate about the cars, what kind of furniture to bring, like for example, generator, for example, that could be something good to bring because we have one already, and it will be helpful. Certain appliances, I don't think it's gonna help because it doesn't have the same voltage. So here in the US we have 110, I guess. Over there it's 210 or 220. So it's gonna blow up, right? If you plug in your hair dryer, it's gonna blow up. Might as well just buy one over there. Obviously your computers and everything, sure, you can bring that. You can even buy some here and they will work perfectly. But figuring out certain things, like for example, like my desk. I really like my desk, my IKEA desk, and the kids have their IKEA desk. They're really solid. We've had them for years. Do we bring them, or do we have them made over there? Maybe even better quality. Maybe it's going to be cheaper, or it's going to be more expensive. Things like the TVs, things like sofas, or, you know, there are certain styles that we like, or maybe we're going to be like, you know what? Let's just forget it. Let's just leave everything here and just go with our suitcases. Whatever the case will be, this will be a great chance during this scouting trip to observe and make those decisions. So we'll be better equipped, better informed before we actually get to decide on all these things. There are things we already know, we're just donating. We've already started purging things. And so there are things that we're donating. There are things that we might put in storage, like valuables, like pictures and stuff like that. But there are things we're still like, should we not? And we haven't decided on those yet. So these were my 12 or 13 items of things that I plan to do on my scouting trip to Abidjan in the next in a few months. So let me know in the comments, what are some of the things that you plan to do? Are you going on a scouting trip? What are things that are really, really important for you to do on that scouting trip? And if you're not going on a scouting trip, let me know if you're not. All right, until next time, bye.